A helicopter crash in New Mexico is caught on camera, and now that video is making its way across the web and network TV. It happened near Clayton in northeastern New Mexico. Cameras capture a chopper carrying 4 people who were shooting a TV show smash against the ground. It looks terrible, and it was for the people on board. However, they were all able to walk away from the crash with minor injuries.
As far as for the severity of the situation, I mean, we were all beyond lucky to walk out and have no more injuries than what we did.
The 3 men on board suffered bruised and broken ribs, and a woman suffered lacerations and a broken knuckle. The FAA is investigating along with the Union County Sheriff's Department. A local pilot who flies the same kind of helicopter tells us it appears the pilot was flying too low and too slow, and that there were too many people on board. The search for a missing firefighter is now entering the 8th day, and the family of Token Adams is speaking publicly. The 41-year-old veteran firefighter vanished last Friday while checking a fire in the Jemez. He's married, has a 4-year-old son, and his wife's about to have another baby. Yesterday, more than 250 searchers combed mesa tops and steep canyons, while his father-in-law told News 13 about how Adams' little boy is dealing with his dad's disappearance.
He keeps asking for Daddy. We tell him that Daddy's in the woods, Daddy's missing, and that we got a whole lot of people trying to find him. As much as he understands, I'm not, he's a 4-year-old.
Besides the ground search, a state police helicopter used an infrared camera looking for a heat source, but found nothing. A tragic story out of southeastern New Mexico this week. A 12-year-old boy is dead in Carlsbad after he was accidentally shot by his 15-year-old cousin. Police say Jeremy Hatfield was playing with a BB gun at his home on Wednesday when his cousin Michael Schultz pointed a real gun at him and pulled the trigger. Schultz says he thought it was unloaded, but it wasn't. The police report calls the shooting accidental, but Schultz is charged with involuntary manslaughter and unlawful possession of a handgun. His family thinks he got the weapon from a friend. 3 men in Albuquerque could face charges after what they did to a naked man they caught peeping into their home at their 2 teen girls. The mother of the girl says a man in his 30s was spotted in a bush about 2 a.m. on Thursday, peering through a window at her 13 and 15-year-old daughters.
My oldest son came out and told him, what are you doing? And then discovered he was naked. He popped my son in the mouth and took off running. We called 911. I was screaming.
Police say the girl's dad, 19-year-old brother, and his friend chased the suspect down the street and badly beat him. When APD arrived, they found the man naked and nearly dead. He's in critical and unstable condition at UNM Hospital. Police interviewed the men who beat him and will work with the DA's office to decide if they should be charged. Albuquerque police tell us a couple of suspected serial ATM robbers were caught after trying to pull off a robbery at a Bank of America ATM near Montgomery and Wantabo. APD says the suspects that were caught last night are a man and a woman. We don't know yet if the male suspect is the man seen in these surveillance pictures. Police have been looking for this guy since late June. They say his ATM holdups have grown increasingly violent. The male suspect was tased and sent to a local hospital for evaluation. Lobos starting quarterback Cole Gauchi is sitting out this week's game because of another concussion. Now some are wondering if he's at major risk if he continues to play. Dr. John Henry Sloan at Loveless Rehabilitation Hospital tells News 13 players who suffer multiple concussions are more susceptible to more concussions. On top of that, each additional concussion a player suffers has the potential to increase potential damage. The cumulative effect of repeated head trauma has led to major issues for a number of former college and pro players. That repeated head trauma has been connected to memory loss, aggression, and severe depression in the long term. Sloan says the best way to assess short-term risk is often to look at a player's symptoms.
If they start showing persistent neurocognitive or neurobehavioral changes, you really should be talking about retirement at that point in time.
Lobos coach Bob Davies says Gauchi was symptom-free Wednesday and is expected to return for the Lobos game against Pittsburgh Saturday the 14th at 10:30 a.m. Have you made your plans to get a flu shot this season? New Mexico health officials are urging all of us to. The State Department of Health says the flu vaccine is already in some clinics and pharmacies. Health Secretary Retta Ward says it may seem early, but now's the time to get vaccinated. Ward says it's hard to predict how intense the next flu season will be, so it's best not to wait until the flu season starts going before you think about getting vaccinated. She says anyone 6 months and older should get the flu vaccine, and it's especially important for children, pregnant women, people over 50, and anyone with certain medical conditions to get vaccinated. Biologists with the State Game and Fish Department are trying to figure out what killed dozens of catfish at Ute Lake. The fish were found floating in the eastern New Mexico lake about a week after underwater blasting for a construction project, but officials say there's no conclusive link between the blasting and the fish kill. They say other causes could be toxins in the water, natural causes, or even lightning. This comes less than a week after a massive die-off of elk in northern New Mexico, a case that still remains a mystery. More than 100 elk suddenly collapsed on a ranch north of Las Vegas. Game and Fish initially suspected EHD, an often fatal disease spread through insect bites, but they now say with EHD it's unusual for so many animals to die all at once. Biologists are also considering the animal's food source. They're testing tissue and water samples, but test results could take weeks. Environmentalists fear a pending rule change could threaten New Mexico's green energy production. The Public Regulation Commission rule enforcing the Renewable Energy Act sets calculations for how much renewables cost. Environmental advocates say that would make it easier for utilities to get around those figures to make solar energy appear more expensive than it really is by narrowing the focus on renewables to wind energy, which they believe is short-sighted. The PRC is holding a public comment hearing on the matter Tuesday, September 10th at 8:30 in the morning in the 10th floor of the Para building on Paseo de Peralta in Santa Fe.